Today we're going to compare the most controversial cinema camera in the market, the Sony FX2, versus the newest hybrid camera from Sony, the A7V. We're going to put them in real filmmaking scenarios to test out dynamic range, image quality, stabilization, overheating, and even photography on the first cinema line camera with a mechanical shutter. And by the end of this video, we're going to find out if the features of the A7V makes it the best hybrid camera, or the cinema line FX2 is still undefeated. We are shooting on both of these cameras today. We have the Sony FX2 as the main cam and the A7V as the B cam. Whatever camera we're shooting on, I'm going to put the name of it in the corner down below so you can see the image quality for yourself. And let's start with the ergonomics. The A7V has this photography camera shape. Yes, it can take photos and videos, but it looks like it's a photography first camera. It has all the mode dials and buttons on the top and on the back with no custom buttons on the front, which differentiates it from the A1 and A9 III, which are the top tier flagship cameras. It has an incredible handle on the side. Of course, you can add the cage and add the mounting points to it, but on the body itself, other than the tripod mount, it doesn't have any mounting points. You also have a full-size HDMI, a headphone jack, a microphone jack, and two USB-C inputs. One of them for charging and one of them for multi, like you can connect it to whatever while charging at the same time. But the coolest feature of the A7V is definitely this. The screen itself can flip out and also tilt, which is one of the best features that you can get in any camera, because sometimes I would love to have a camera like this and I want to keep a symmetrical shot as symmetrical as possible, so I would rather use a tilty screen rather than a flippy screen. While the FX2 screen is just a flippy screen. It doesn't have a zoom rocker on the top, it's an on and off button, while the on and off button is on the back. The FX2 is more of a cinema line camera. A cinema line body from Sony is usually gray. It shares a similar side handle to the FX3, so you can just hold it like that. It feels good in the hand. You don't need an extra, grip on the side. It has the viewfinder, which is the only one right now that has the viewfinder attached to the body permanently. It's always there. If you need it or not, it's always there. And that was my biggest issue with the FX2 when it got released. Like, who asked for this? And apparently a lot of people asked for this, and I didn't know until I asked a lot of people, and they were like, yeah, we use that as the third contact point other than our hands. A lot of people asked for it, and Sony answered, here's a camera with an EVF. You want it? Here you go. So I really respect Sony for hearing out their users and what they want and adding that feature to the next camera, even if not all people want or like this feature. I don't think that I will use that because I'm usually like an external monitor guy. I have an external monitor at all times. I use my camera monitor just for, the settings or something like that, which is something that you can do on a cinema line camera because it has the big 6 menu, which is not available on the A7V. You can, of course, turn it off and on using this home button. Now the body itself doesn't need a cage because it has two mounting points on the top and two mounting points on the bottom. So you don't have to worry about your Arc-Swiss plate rotating left or right because it's not in place or something, or because the screw loosened. The FX2 also has tally lights on all sides. One tally light on the back, one on the recording button, which is very, very handy, and one on the front, which I'm looking at right now on the FX3. While the A7V doesn't have any tally lights, not even on the front. They added it on the A7R6, and I wish they had it because right now I don't know if I'm recording or not. There is a red line on the sides of the screen, but that's not enough for me because if I don't see the red light shining, I don't know if I'm recording. And I love to have more tally lights even on photography first cameras. Behind the screen itself, you can find the fan. This fan is what cools the camera down, and it's one of the signature things in a cinema body. It has a microphone and a headphone jack on the sides, a full-size HDMI, and one USB-C and one of these old USBs that you can connect like a side handle to or something like that. It's a multi-input. I have a side handle that has a record button, so I can connect that to this camera, same as the FX3. Let's talk about image quality. Both of these cameras have a 33 megapixel CMOS sensor, but the one on the A7V is partially stacked, while the one on the FX2 is similar to the one on the A7 IV. I think they made it a little bit better. Sharing the sensor with an old camera is a smart move from Sony, and they do it a lot. If you want to know which cameras share the same sensor, go ahead. There's a full video that I explained all cameras that share the same sensor and will come up and share the same sensor in the future. I think the image quality for me is really similar. Both of them can shoot 4K. The A7 V can shoot 4K 120 FPS, while the FX2 can shoot only 60 FPS with a crop. I wish that they used the same sensor as the A7 V on the FX2. I would have sold my FX3 and bought that right away. It's an incredible sensor, very capable low light performance. It can shoot up to 8,000 ISO. That's the second base ISO on this camera, where the cinema camera is 4,000. And that was the reason why we chose the A7 V to use it in the latest event that we shot. Really performed well next to the FX3 and ZV-E1. And we were shooting a live event, so we were live. We cannot just denoise the image. And when they lit the candles and turned the lights off, the A7 V was the brightest at 20,000 ISO, and nobody noticed anything. It wasn't even that noisy, and we were only shooting with candle lights. Does that make the FX2 less of a cinema camera? No, that does not make you a cinematographer, and the 12,800 ISO on the FX3 does not make you a cinematographer. You should know how to control your light, but having this capability will make it easier to use in low light situations like events. I shoot a lot of events, and I would prefer the highest second base ISO on a camera rather than having 3200 on the A7 IV and 4000 on the FX2. Image quality is incredible. It's downsampled from 7K. It's very, very sharp. It's even sharper than the FX3 because this one has a 12 megapixel sensor. Now, the second thing that I like on both of these cameras is the fact that you can shoot Super 35 mode or APS-C mode. You can crop in on the image without losing quality because this is a 33 megapixel sensor. But I've noticed something else. If you're using Super 35 mode and you enabled dynamic active stabilization, it will zoom furthermore. When I'm using the 2470 G Master 2 and I wanted to compress the background, I was like, okay, let's turn on Super 35 mode. Then I was like, this is very shaky. Let's turn on dynamic active stabilization. And it won't zoom in more than that. And it zoomed in and the image was still sharp. You're seeing this footage right now. It was very, very good. I managed to do that with the Super 35 mode and dynamic active stabilization at the same time. So having both of these enabled will give you extra reach. This Ferris wheel is very far. It's like 30 kilometers away from me. I was shooting on a 200mm lens. I'm getting over 300mm because of these features enabled at the same time. Dynamic range on both cameras is amazing. I've shot log on both of them in direct sunlight, and I can recover a lot of the shadows and highlights in both of these images when exposed right. If you don't know how to expose your image in high contrast situations, it's on you, it's not on the camera. So don't just depend on buying like 20 stops of dynamic range camera and expose wrong and expect that this camera will save you. The rolling shutter though on the A7 V is way faster. Because of the faster readout speed, there's less jelloing whenever you're panning left and right, and that's the issue with the A7 IV and the FX2. So I think that I might prefer the A7 V at this point. The FX2 is good, and before we talk about the biggest thing, which is overheating, I want to address stabilization, which is one of the most important things for me because I usually shoot handheld and I've tried both of these cameras. Now, both of them have the AI chip from Sony, which allows them to have like dynamic active plus the standard. And the dynamic active stabilization is the feature that's missing in my FX3. That's what I want in the FX3 to be perfect. So having this feature will allow you to shoot handheld like 80 to 90% like a gimbal. It's very stable and steady. I think Sony lenses will give you better results with dynamic active stabilization. In this situation, both cameras are capable, both of them are great. Dynamic active is dynamic active. I think the A7 V is a little bit better. I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but that's what I saw in the footage. You can decide. Here are the footage, you're seeing them right now. So write down in the comments if you see any difference in the dynamic active stabilization between these two cameras. Next up, let's talk about overheating. Now, as you can see from the footage, I tried shooting the sunset and now it's 40 degrees in Dubai. The FX2 has a fan, so it won't overheat, but the A7 V doesn't have a fan. So will it overheat? No, it didn't overheat. And I didn't try to make it overheat. And I would never advise anybody to do that. Never let your camera overheat. That's not a good thing. Now, the overheating was an issue on the A7 IV. On the A7 V, on the other hand, because of the new mix of the processor and the AI chip, I think they have better cooling mechanism internally without a fan. But either way, I think both of these cameras will not overheat if you are treating them properly. You should not shoot in direct sunlight for long periods of time unless you have to. It shouldn't overheat. You shouldn't let it overheat. Try to take care of your camera as much as possible. Now let's talk about photography for a bit, because although this is a cinema line camera, it has a mechanical shutter same as the A7 IV and A7 V, and it can take photos, which was weird at first. But apparently, as I asked Sony to, a lot of people requested a mechanical shutter so they can take photos while having the cinema line features. Now the cinema line features are the body, the tally lights, the Cine EI, the fan, and the external raw output, which we will talk about later, but they want also a mechanical shutter to shoot professional photos. So again, thanks to Sony for hearing its users, because a lot of people wanted that and they just delivered. A lot of times I've wished that I have a mechanical shutter on my ZV-E1 because of flickering. Even the variable shutter setting inside of the ZV-E1 did not help me at all times, because sometimes you might have different sources of light that have different frequencies, and these multiple sources will just interfere and it will give you flickering no matter what shutter speed or angle you put it on. Especially in events, the FX2 can't take photos professionally because it has a 33 megapixel sensor. It has a mechanical shutter. You can use it the same way you're using any photography camera. The A7 V is a photo first camera that can take video. It's a hybrid camera. I really like having the camera just up to my eye when shooting photos, just like that, you know? And I don't like the side EVF, as I said before, so this camera feels like a photography camera rather than a video camera that can shoot photos. When I'm doing video first, the FX2 might be a better option. The photos on both of these cameras are incredible. 33 megapixels is more than enough if you want to crop in. The A7 IV was incredible for photos, and the A7 V is a little bit better in my opinion. So they're both capable cameras. Either way, I gave the FX2 and the A7 V to a professional photographer to see what he thinks about them, and here's what he said.
What impressed me the most is how reliable this camera is, how balanced in photography and videography. I tested both, by the way, and how for 5 hours shoot, it still deliver very high performance.
I think we used only one battery on this.
Yes, only one.
Photos and videos.
Yeah, for 5 hours. Yes.
5 hours, and we only used one battery, so that's performance you never get out of an older model, let's say. And I don't think that the FX2 should be a photo first camera, because it's not. It's a cinema line camera, and the A7 V is there for a reason. And if you're a photographer first and want to take a little bit of videos, I think the A7 R6 is the best option, not even the A7 V, if you have the budget though. Although the A7 V have the 4K 120 FPS and 4K 60 full frame, the FX2 still has ProRes recording through Atomos Ninja, same as the FX3 and the FX30. So this is a feature that's different from all the A7 line, and it's a cinema line feature that you might want to use on the FX2 to get more flexibility in your videos. At the end, which of these two cameras is better for you? Is it the newest hybrid camera from Sony, or is it the cinema line camera? If you want a full frame camera that's a cinema line, you don't have the budget for an FX3, or you need a mechanical shutter to take photos, you can get the FX2. The price is very reasonable for what it provides. But if you are a photographer first, or a content creator, you'll like to take photos, you like this type of bodies, you don't care about having the fan or tail lights or Cine EI, the A7 V for me is the better option. The A7 V is a professional photography camera. It's a very, very capable videography camera. There's no one camera better than the other. There's a camera more suited towards your type of work than the other. That's it. Tell us down below in the comments which one of these cameras would you prefer. At the end, I just want to say thanks to Sony for providing these cameras. They don't have any saying on this video, and I hope that they like it. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below what you want to know about next. And I'll see you in the next one. And good.